Hey everyone, this is Shama with Girls and Geese. We are back for yet another Next Generation interview series. Today we have a phenomenal young up-and-coming athlete on with us, Emily Leyva. She is a team member for the Leticia Ribeiro team. She's out of South Bay in San Diego. We are super excited to have her on to share her story. She's a four-time Pan American kids champion, and she's got a lot of experience helping with the kids class. And here we are. How are
Hello.
you doing? uh, Thank you so much for being on with us today. We're
Thank
excited
you
to
for
have you
having
here.
me. I'm so
Well,
blessed.
I remember you from a little itty bitty girl training with
Yeah. You had a
Leticia.
Girls and Geese seminar at Leticia's gym, like in 2016, I think.
Yes, yes. So
Hmm.
you're all grown up now.
Yeah.
So, so tell us a little bit. I gave him a short little intro. Tell us
Hmm.
a little bit about yourself.
I'm a green white belt under Leticia Ribeiro. I train at Gracie Umaita South Bay in San Diego, California, and I love to compete. I've been training since I was like 5 years old, so my 10-year anniversary is coming up, and yeah.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
you really are a part of this next generation, and that's what this whole series is about. Is your generation now who started at 5 years old, now entering into your teens and then on to adulthood, you guys are going to take jiu-jitsu to the next level. So how did you get started in jiu-jitsu? Like how did your parents find it? Did you start with Leticia?
My dad always had friends whose kids did jujitsu, so we were always kind of around it. And I didn't start with Leticia. I used to live in Ramona, and I went to a gym in Ramona for like the first 3 years of my jiu-jitsu journey. And then after that, we moved to Chula Vista, which was right by National City, where Leticia's gym is. And ever since, I've been training here.
Well, I can't tell you how jealous I am. She is my idol and always
Yeah.
has been. So I'm envious of that you get to train with her day to day.
Yeah. I'm so
So,
blessed.
so how did you like? At what point, like, was jujitsu for you like instantly like, oh, I like this. This is fun. Was there ever a point where you're like, I don't want to go to jujitsu, or has it always been something that's just like you're passionate about and enjoy doing?
I've always had fun doing jujitsu, but like at first it was like some days I didn't want to go. Like it was just in the beginning, but now like I love it so much. You know what I'm saying? Like it's my favorite.
Excellent. So you've competed a lot.
Yes, I love competing.
What is it like? Is competing like a big motivation for you in your training, or is it just like one of the extra bonus points to being an
Oh
athlete?
yeah, for sure. Competitions just like give you like even more motivation and stuff to like train even harder. Even without motivation, I like to train hard. But competition, it's always just like the cherry on top.
What has been your most memorable experience as far as competing goes?
My first Pan Kids, my second Pan Kids, because the first one, I had like a really stacked bracket and I lost in the finals, like barely, I think. And then the next year, she was the only girl in my bracket, my final match. And so I was like training really hard for that and I was so nervous. And then I started fighting and I was like losing at first. Like she got a takedown and she was about to pass my guard. But then like out of nowhere I got a Kimura and then I won. And yeah, so
Nice,
that was so great.
nice. I mean,
Hmm.
and that's the joy of jujitsu, right? Because just when you're down, it doesn't mean it's done, right? You
Yeah,
still
for
have that
sure.
opportunity. So,
Hmm.
is that something like, and that's kind of going into the deep thought of jujitsu, but what is there something in your training that kind of pushes you to that point to where, I know a lot of people kind of before they even compete, some people, they've already admitted defeat in their head, right?
Yeah.
So is there anything that you do to kind of keep you psyched up, to keep you going mentally when you're in that situation? You go, oh gosh, the points are down. Oh, I only got a couple of seconds. Like, what keeps you kind of motivated through that point to turn that around to where you were able to get that confidence to get that submission?
You know, during the fight, I never really like accept defeat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll never like during the fight think, "Oh my God, I'm gonna lose because she's beating me by how many points?" You know, like how you said, like just a little bit ago, you said you're never really losing in jiu-jitsu. You know, like with my finals at Pans, the first time I won, I was losing, but then I got the submission. You know, so I think it's never over until it's over.
Nice. No, that's a good philosophy to have. It, like I said, I mean, I've definitely, for myself personally, I've gone in a bad headspace before and been like, oh, I'm not gonna win, and then you go out there and you're like, wait, why did I even compete when I already like lost before I even got
Yeah.
in? And so, at what point did you realize that, you know what, I really am going to put my all in? I'm going to just go for this jujitsu thing. I'm going to push it as far as I can and try to compete and really kind of, make a name for yourself in this. Was there a turning point for you where you realized that this is something you really want to do?
Um, I've always really loved jujitsu, and I always knew that I wanted to do jujitsu like for as, for the rest of my life, really. So it was always in the back of my head, you know. But like more recently, I've like realized that I like really want to do something in the sport and like go further and like make a name for myself. So yeah.
What are some of your goals?
Um, I want to win worlds. I'm doing, this is my last year fighting in the kids division, and next year is my first year competing, like not as an adult yet, but like in the juvenile division. And so that's my biggest goal, winning Pans, worlds, and like more later, I want to win worlds as a black belt, of course, in the adult division. That's the goal.
Oh, that's a great. I think you got the right team of support there to do that
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
So what is it like? I mean, you're literally training with one of the most phenomenal women. She's not only like accomplished so much in her competitive career, but she's
Hmm.
also like supported and brought up people like Bia and Carol, and you have a number of competitors that she's brought in there. What is it like and Gabby, and what is it like being in that environment training with these people? Does that help motivate you as well, just being around that and being inspired by it?
For sure. I think it's like I have like the best role models like ever. So it's like always like a big factor, you know, it's like really big motivation. I have like the best people to look up to. So it's great.
What do you, as far as your goals going forward, have you ever thought about teaching? Is that something that you'd be interested in?
I love teaching. So Leticia, she recently asked me to help with the kids classes. And it's like it's so much fun, like with the kids, and like they're always like I just love watching them roll and like helping out and stuff. It's like so much fun.
Excellent. So I always ask the kids on here. So are most of your friends that you have, are they through jujitsu? Do you have any non-jujitsu friends? And if you do, what do they think about what you do?
Yeah, I think most of my friends do jujitsu. Like I have more jujitsu friends than, yeah, or no, I think it's pretty equal. I don't know. Um I have a lot of jujitsu friends though, and some of the best relationships I've ever made was from jujitsu, you know. So and about my other friends like from school, um we don't really talk about jiu-jitsu too much. Like she knows like, oh, I'm not going to be here for 3 days because I'm going to Florida, or like I'm not going to be here on Monday because I'm going to have a tournament, you know, like,
No.
yeah.
They don't think, oh, you don't go into you're not one of those people that just talk about jujitsu everywhere you go. That's a lot of us jujitsu people, right?
Yeah.
So when like it takes a lot of sacrifice to compete as much as you do. Is that
For sure.
hard? Being, especially being a teenager, like, oh, I want to go hang out with my friends. I want to do this, but you, as you said, a lot of your friends train jujitsu. But is it hard, kind of finding balance between school and other obligations, spending time with family and friends? How are you able to kind of keep that balance going with everything and competing at the level that you are?
Mm-hmm. So everything, I always want to compete. It's always me telling my dad, hey, there's a JJ World League or there's a IBJJF tournament or something like that. Like, can you sign me up? It's always me asking. So I already like kind of I organize kind of what I do. And so it's never really a factor, or it is, but like, um, I always like, I know that I want to compete, and I never really like get things mixed up or nothing like that. I don't know how to word it,
So
but
it's not like, oh, I have a competition coming up, but oh, there's my friends are going and doing this.
no,
Kind
never.
of, okay. You're like, I have to go compete. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
Or come train with me. I'll see you at the mat.
Yeah, I've tried to get a couple of my friends to do jiu-jitsu, but nothing stuck.
No takers.
No.
That's always, eventually you'll break them down.
Yeah.
Just keep asking. It took me 5 years of people asking before I did
Oh,
it.
really?
Yes.
Thanks.
And then once I did, it was like, oh my God, why did I start this sooner?
Yeah.
But so you are one of the fortunate ones that did start sooner. So, like, it's almost like so much of it is muscle memory, right? We just
Mm-hmm.
go out, we do it. And you're fortunate enough to have started it when your body's starting to know walk and movement. And,
Yeah.
you're not too far away from that whole
Mm-hmm.
like process. Is for jujitsu, is it I found for me when teaching, it helps me become a better practitioner because then I have to break it down, right? It's not just
Yeah.
going off instinct. You have to think, okay, you're pushing this hand there. Since you've started to kind of help out a little bit, have you seen that that's kind of changed your game or changed your view and how you are able to look at jujitsu and break it down?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, ever since I started teaching, like Leticia with the littler kids, she goes like into depth of like why you're doing this, or like what'll happen, like the reactions that you'll get when you do like this. So it's like it helps me too. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what
Mm-hmm.
would you say to another girl or boy, that's in your age, preteens into your early teens that are
Mm-hmm.
saying, you know what, I hear about this jujitsu thing, I see this UFC jujitsu grappling thing going on,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's for me. What would you say to encourage them or to get them onto the mats and to kind of break down any fears or worries that they might have?
I would probably tell them that, for me at least, jujitsu has helped like so much with like everything. Like it's great for like the mind, the body. Like if you're having a bad day at school or got into a fight with like your sibling or something like that, and you come to the gym, like you're just around all your friends, then you get to do with you what you love. And so it's always just like jiu-jitsu is just so great, and it's great with confidence too, especially if you're going out to tournaments, like, and you want to compete in tournaments. Like that's just a big step to me, at least, just like wanting to go out there and put yourself out there. Like that's really great for confidence. And yeah.
And that's something that a lot of young girls, and I know that I struggled with as well, is kind of figuring yourself out, right? Because you're moving
Mm-hmm.
from childhood into womanhood. And
For
so
sure.
having that confidence is so important, especially when you start so young and you have it and you move into being an adult. Um, I can't tell you how lucky you guys are to have built that so young as opposed to a lot of us who start much later in life.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as so you compete a lot, you're teaching. What are some other goals? Is there anything else that you're interested in, or is it just jujitsu is my everything? And do you have
Yeah.
anything else you enjoy doing, or is there any other hobbies or activities? Or I know it's hard because you're so busy training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, jiu-jitsu is really my number one. but my mom really wants me to go to college, and I want to go to college too. So I think I want to study something in the medical field, and yeah, and school sports wise, nothing really. I really want to just do jiu-jitsu. I was thinking about doing wrestling, but I had a
Oh.
couple friends who got hurt during wrestling,
Oh.
so I don't really know. And
Yeah.
so, but it would help with my takedown, so maybe.
It would help your takedowns for sure. And I know a lot of kids who went this route is they were super active competing in jiu-jitsu, and then they threw
switch to wrestling, right?
To the wrestling, yeah. And then not only that, but it opened up their takedown game, and a lot of them went on to college and got scholarships to be able to go to school through wrestling, because unfortunately jiu-jitsu just doesn't have that quite yet. Hopefully,
yet.
Right?
Hopefully,
not yet.
Right?
I don't know, maybe in your lifetime you'll see it for sure. I think that would be awesome to be able to have that. So do you ever throw any judo? Have you ever thrown judo into the mix?
You know, I did judo like 3 classes, but I never really liked it as much as I did with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I had a hard time with getting slammed on the mat, even though it happens in jiu-jitsu, but the constant takedowns getting
that was and I didn't even know how to do judo, you know? I went for a double leg or something like that, and they were like, "What are you doing?" So
You're like, "That's wrestling."
Yeah, but that's all I knew. Yeah, I didn't really know.
No, I'm the
My
same
dad
way.
took me and he said, "It's just like jiu-jitsu, but it's just takedowns." So I was like, "Oh, okay." It wasn't.
You're like, "Hey, the uniforms are bigger, and it's not quite the same." So what do you do with your friends that don't do jiu-jitsu? What do kids your days? I feel like an old person. What do kids your days do these days?
Well, my high school's right by a shopping center, so we walk down there and get food sometimes. And then there's a couple malls by my area, so we go there too. We live in San Diego, so the beach is always right there too. And sometimes we'll just go to each other's houses too.
Nice. Yeah. Well, so things haven't changed that much since my day. That's about what we did 20 years ago. Awesome. So it's another. I wanted to give you an opportunity to give a little bit of advice. So, do you ever get nervous when you're competing? Is that something? Yeah.
For sure. I think it's gotten a lot better with time, but in the beginning, I used to get so nervous. And
how did you combat that?
I like to listen to music. Music always kind of calmed my nerves a little bit. And but also I would always be so nervous before the ref goes like that to bring in the competitors. But then once you shake hands and you start going, then it goes away and it's you're so focused.
Well, it takes a long time to hit that focus point too. And is that I know a lot of people, I know for me too, it was, I used to compete a lot, and then it got to the point where I'd still get that nerves, but you can have that focus. And I know for a lot of people when they first start, I have no idea what happened in that match. I just slapped hands and I went. Is that just something that built up over time for you, or was there anything you did, maybe watching it later on, that kind of helped make you be more in the moment?
Yeah. I think it's always good to get to the tournament before you fight, because just being there and watching everybody fight, watching your teammates go, it puts you in that mental state already. Yeah. I think just being there before your match and just watching the matches and stuff already gets you a little bit prepared.
What advice would you have for other people who are adults and kids that, maybe you're a little bit ambivalent, I don't know if I want to compete, that seems a little too rough for me, I just like drilling, or what would you have to say to them about the importance of competing? Or is that something that you think everybody should do? Or is it kind of like, well, maybe it is part of your journey, maybe it's not? And if it is something that you think everybody should do, what advice do you have, and why do you hold that kind of stance there?
I think jujitsu should just, I think you should always put like the fun in jujitsu. You know, if you think it's going to be fun to compete, if you want to compete, then for sure. But if you don't want to compete, you don't got to compete. You know what I'm saying? Like, just being on the mat in the first place, like going to the gym is like great already. So I don't think everybody has to compete, but if you want to, it's so good. I love competing personally, but so everybody who doesn't, you know, that's totally okay too. And I recommend competing because it's like, it's just so much fun being with your teammates. Not even just competing like yourself. You're just like there with your team, with your coaches. You get to coach your teammates.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, you get to fight yourself and like show your jiu-jitsu. And so it's always fun.
What have you learned from compete? Is there anything that you've taken from these experiences that has kind of shaped who you are as far as going into being a competitor?
Yeah, I think so. I think competing really gave me like confidence a little bit. You know, I was always kind of like not very open, kind of introverted a little bit, but like competing always, like, it made me like more outgoing. It made me like happier, you know? And yeah.
Awesome. So I'm gonna ask you. I ask everybody this question: if you were to sum up your game into one word, what would that word be?
Well-rounded.
Well-rounded.
I
Awesome.
hope so.
What is your go? Is there a go-to submission that we got to watch out for with you? Is there something that you've just mastered that, like, oh, she's in the setup, it's over already?
I really like arm bars and loop chokes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Arm bars from guard or
Guard.
from? So,
From
would
guard
you
and
need?
loop chokes from guard.
Are you more of a guard player, or are you kind of? Is
I
that
like
where
to
you
play
grab?
everywhere.
Oh
I
yeah, you're
wouldn't say that.
well-rounded.
Yeah. Yeah, but I pull guard in tournaments mostly. So,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
Well, you know what? A lot of us pull guard. There's nothing wrong with pulling guard. They like
Yeah.
to shame us, but there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. But I love passing and, you know, doing takedowns. So, everything's fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to let you close out with any final thoughts. Is there anything that you would like to share with the people listening, watching today? Any final advice that you'd like to give?
Just thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Shama, for having me. So happy to be here. And you know, jujitsu is so much fun. It helps with like everything, the mind, the body, you know, everything. So thank you for tuning in.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on today. I had a lot of fun talking with you, and
Thank you
you
for
know,
having me.
absolutely. And you touched on a lot of very important topics that
Hmm.
I think that people listening are going to really get a lot out of. So I'm so happy that we had you on here.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your knowledge and your experience with us. And you're definitely somebody that we're all going to be looking out for a whole lot
Oh,
more. I know it. I can
I
already. I'm
appreciate
calling
that so much.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be sitting behind that desk running that gym one day, or different gym.
Oh,
Sorry, Leticia.
yeah. Do you want to say hi to Leticia? She's
Yeah,
actually
let's say
here.
hi.
Yeah. Let's go find her. She's actually teaching the kids class. Here's
Oh,
Farad.
perfect.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey.
Watch, she's right here. Leticia. Leticia. Do you want to say hi to Shama? Yeah, I think so.
And all the girls in
Hello!
Hey, Leticia, you're making more
Are you girls having
champions.
fun with the champion?
Oh yes, yes. She's
Yeah,
dropping some serious knowledge on us.
yeah. She's the future, right?
I know.
Everybody write her name there.
I know. We need to get her autograph.
Yeah, write her name down. Good to talk
No.
with you, Shama.
You too. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Keep making more champions. We need
I'm
more
trying.
Leticia champions.
Making every day. Look at that.
Yes. Oh, the whole bunch of them.
They are here.
Woo! Hi, you guys. Hi.
Bye, Shama.
Bye. Thank you so much, Emily. Thank you, Leticia.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much. And like I said, I look forward to everything that you're doing. And thank your parents for letting you be a part of this as well. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And until next time, you take care.
Yes, 100%.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.